On Saturday, were some of the problems caused by confusion over what Georgia Tech was doing, or the guys just not beat their blocks, that kind of thing?
I mean, there were 53 plays out there, so I mean, there was a little bit of combination, different things for different plays. I think, we didn't play as good as we wanted to play, and some of it came to, the line of scrimmage, some of it came to space tackling, some came to leverage. My job's to get it fixed, and but definitely didn't play as well as we wanted to play, that's for sure.
Brendan up front.
With the line of scrimmage, how much was physicality a problem for you guys? And what can you do to kind of build on and improve it if it wasn't a big problem?
Well, physicality sometimes comes down to technique, sometimes it comes down to eyes, sometimes it comes down to grit. There's a bunch of different ways to be physical. You could want to be, but if your hands are in different places and your eyes are in different places, that can come up. You can get moved, and so we do a great job with our weight room in our training. We think we have powerful players, but those powerful players need to play with good technique, and they need to make sure their eyes are where they need to be. And if they're not, you'll get exposed at times. And we got to do a better job in all aspects for sure.
Jordan.
Coach, after one of the scrimmages, you mentioned tackling as a problem for the unit, and obviously it showed up on Saturday. Is that something that can be fixed with more game reps, or what do you guys think is better in the tackling department going forward?
Yeah, I mean, there's times that, I think we've taken good steps, but when the lights come on and what you see is what you get, you got to continue to rep the fundamentals, or change some of the ways that you get it done, or make sure the guys are in better position, one or the other. And so, in today's age of football, with the amount of space that's put on, you better make sure you're the aggressor in tackling. And what does that mean? It means you better be coming and taking all the grass, you better be tracking with really good angles, and you better be chasing inside out. And that way you can really limit the amount of plays after contact or even plays in space. So things that we've done well before, things that we've got to get better at for sure coming out of that game. And some of it individuals, some of it was the group, some of it was technique, but it's all part of the improvement plan of what needs to get fixed, because we can't go out there and give up yards that shouldn't be given up. Because when there's those plays to be made and some of those space plays, those are the things we got to count on. And good defenses make all those one-on-ones, and we've got to do a better job.
Matt?
How do you think Conrad Hussey played? He's now lone starter at safety on the depth chart. What did he kind of do to earn that spot?
Well, I mean, I think even coming out of camp, he was somebody that we've put a lot of time into. I think he's got all the skill set that you're looking for in a safety. I think he's a good tackler. I think he can cover. He can track space. There's a lot of things Conrad does well, and he's gotten his opportunity in the past. He's done a good job with the opportunities, and so those opportunities continue to grow. So I'm looking forward to the week of practice. I thought he was really good last night on our practice, and I'm really looking forward to working with him this week and getting him to play with his very best.
Athlon.
Not going to try to act like I know about football here, Coach, but when people talk about gaps and gap integrity and linebackers having been filled properly, do things change based on if the defensive lineman gets moved out of the way? I mean, how much of that symbiotic sort of thing maybe didn't work out as intended for you guys on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, you want to win one-on-ones, but in the run game, you got to build walls, and you've got to have your defenders in between each blocker, and because that is what the space that the ball carrier sees. So sometimes you move on purpose, whether you're blitzing or whether you're stunting, and linebackers or safeties have to replace that space. Sometimes a defensive lineman can knock a block back and eliminate the space of a backer or safety, and that guy gets to overlap and go play. And sometimes there's a stalemate there, and the gaps are what they are on paper. And then at times you get overtaken, and when you get pushed back, that creates bad angles for everybody, and it's it affects not only the next person but the next person, and the angles get all not as you practiced. But those things happen in the course of a game. Unfortunately, Saturday they happened more, and we never really get them out of the rhythm to be able to run the football. And that usually starts with the line of scrimmage. but then it goes to the next level, and then finally it does go to tackling. So, you know, all those are pieces to stifling run game, something we got to be better with.
Brendan?
Was Justin Pryor an option at linebacker this week, and will he have a chance moving forward in practice?
Yeah, Juice has been part of the rotation during camp, you know, and as the game got going, you know, it was a different sort of game. You know, it was a limited series game. You know, there were some long drives, then there were some 3-and-out drives, and not as many 3-and-out drives as we needed, for sure. And so the balance of the game, you know, just got in a certain way, but I do believe in Juice. You know, he's going to be running with the group, you know, this week, and, you know, he's going to be a big part of this team as we move forward.
Chris?
You face someone like Haynes King and is coming from Tom Castellanos, setting the edge. How do you go about doing that more effectively than doubling?
Yeah, I just thought we were soft in the edges, you know, and we were, you know, anytime a team can run the football, sometimes you want guys to go do your job. And then what happens is some guys worry about, well, what if this happens? I got to make sure I can do this and then come back and make a play. And that creates for soft edges. And then you put, you know, listen, they did a good job. You know, they've got good ball carriers, and, you know, especially with the quarterback. He's got legitimate speed. You know, he ran around the edge 2 or 3 times on us. You know, some was for lack of edge. Some, you know, obviously we didn't either anticipate the speed that he had, or he was able to get the corner. And so you want to eliminate space, and the quickest way to eliminate space is to draw a hard edge so there's lack of space. You don't want, you know, field 53 yards, you sure don't want plays to be able to extend that wide. And the sooner you draw the edge, the more limited amount of space you have to play, which is to the advantage of the defense. So definitely, you know, whether it was a blitz, whether it was just a fit, or whether it was technique, things, you know, we've emphasized, but we got to do a better job of emphasizing.
Jordan?
Coach, who wore the green dot during the game and called the plays, and also how did you feel the communication was with the motions and some of the things that Georgia Tech presented?
You know, obviously the dot changes based on who's in the game, but, you know, it's a green dot, it goes right in the back of the helmet, you know, and so, you know, DJ Lundy started out with it. When he was out, you know, whoever subbed in for him at that moment could be a multitude of different people. And, you know, Georgia Tech huddled a little bit more. I think you're seeing that in college football now, whether that's to hide the formation or whether that's just for them to use the communication. I think, you know, offenses are trying to figure it out, and defensively, you still have to kind of react to what their tempo is going to be. You know, if they're in the huddle, you know, you can communicate, but really you're waiting on the communication based off what you see. Sometimes when they're aligned in formations, it can be a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you know, it's still a fast sport, and you got to be careful about, you know, speaking as players are going, and, you know, so we work hard on that and making sure that we use it to the advantage and not the disadvantage. You know, but definitely something you know, we'll grow with as the season continues.
Peter?
Coach, when game playing against guys like Thomas Castellanos, what's the toughest part about having to game plan a guy like him, especially going to a different system, especially with Bill O'Brien's offense?
Well, I mean, there's questions every week, but anytime there's a new coaching staff, there's going to be some questions. But, you know, injuries happen, different quarterbacks happen. You know, our job is to get our defense ready to play, and, you know, we got to do a better job this week with it. You know, I think they do have an elite playmaker that's back there at quarterback, and, you know, those challenges are just good guy with the ball in his hands that, you know, can create space by blocking the run game or center routes down the football field, and you got to make decisions on how you cover those routes as opposed to how you cover him. And so, you know, you're constantly trying to make sure that you put guys in good leverage positions. But at the end of the day, you know, defense is still about getting off the blocks, chasing down the ball, and tackling. And so we got to do a great job of doing that this week.
You talked a little bit about Juice Pryor. How do you think the linebacker rotation as a whole played overall?
Not ideal. You know, I think, you know, it's something we got to continue to look at. You know, you try to get your best guys on the field. Sometimes your best guys, you know, are more limited than others. And so you're constantly working through that, whether it's in practice or whether it's during the game. And so, you know, just looking back in that game, you know, probably would do it a little bit different. But I think anytime you suffer failure, there's always things that you're gonna look back and say, I wish I had this call back, I wish I rotated this a little bit differently, I wish we played this play a little bit different, I wish, you know, we just went a little bit faster towards our angle on this play. You know, so you're always gonna, I mean, you try to dig through success or failure. Just failure as a way of opening it all up, to make sure that you're looking at everything, you know, as thoroughly as you can. But you know, there are a lot of things that we probably, or not probably, but I should have done a better job with, and I will.
Take a couple more, go back to Jordan.
Coach, following up on that, you didn't rotate the defensive line as much as you usually do. A lot of the starters played over 50% of the snaps. Was that more because you wanted your top guys out there, or was it just because there's only 50 snaps in the game and they weren't really tired or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we ended up playing 8, you know, usually we probably played 9, maybe a 10th. So it did get a little bit shortened, and some of that did have to do with the limited series in the game.
Brenda?
When you talk about setting the soft edge, just to clarify, is that edge defenders, or is it could be linebackers, safeties, what does that entail?
It really be anybody that is responsible for the edge of the defense. I mean, that could be an end, it could be a corner, it could be a safety, it could be a linebacker, you know, it could be different people, but it really is the same technique. Now, where they're aligned is obviously a little bit different. You know, a guy that's wider or deeper has to be more aggressive down. Guys that are aligned there, even if they're not aggressive, they're gonna set a harder edge because of where they're aligned. But definitely, you know, there were times I thought, like, you know, we didn't have many bright spots, but one, like Newsy set really hard edges on multiple times. That was really good to see, and you know, it just eliminated space, and you know, things that we take pride in doing well. We've just got to be more consistent on doing it well, play after play.
Aslan?
You mentioned the things that you guys take pride in. I feel like, you know, stopping the run is probably one of those things. So when it doesn't go your way, is it, as a coach, as a defensive coach, is it easier to push for more execution and effort out of those guys this week because you know up that standard? And I guess psychologically, what sort of response did you see in that walkthrough yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a walkthrough, we had practice, but you know, it's easy as a human being to say when things didn't go well, now we're really going to fix it. And you know, as a coach, you own everything. You know, especially, and I tell the defense, and Coach Ravel is the best in the business at doing this. When failure happens, it's my fault. When success happens, it's their fault. You know, they have the success, and you know, so you always have to look within when things don't go well, whether it's a rotation, whether it's with the call, whether it's with the alignment, whether it's, you know, with the tackling and what drills you're using. So, you know, listen, nobody wanted to start the season out this way, but if things had gone the other way, you know, the next week is coming. We just have, you know, some things that we've got to own and wear, and you know, heightened awareness that, listen, there's a reason why we weren't our best right now, and we've got to address it, we've got to fix it, we've got to get better from it, we've got to go out there and execute and play our best football come next Monday.
Go to Brendan for the last one.
You mentioned Sione doing well, the way he played, does he warrant more opportunities moving forward because of that?
Yeah, and sometimes coaches, you know, you say, all right, you've got this series, you've got this series, and then if the series happens to go long, maybe you rotate within the series. And sometimes guys go in and it's a 3-and-out series, which goes to show maybe they did a really good job too. You know, but you've got a plan, and then, you know, the plan is always adjusted at times, and, you know, looking back, you know, I think Newsy does deserve more snaps, and that'll be the plan this week.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.